Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. And in today's stream, I'm just doing what I usually do, working on my animation. I decided that I'm actually going to just solely focus on animating for right now. I feel like what I've done is I've split up my stuff too much. So now I'm having difficulties with Oh, there it goes. My stream has started. Anyway, let me try that again. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art. I had too many projects, and so now I have just decided to sort of downsize the stuff that I'm working on and try to do more things that are sort of in my control. So I'm just going to be working on this animation. Now to zoom in. Now that I'm looking at it, I may actually end up spacing some of these out. I think my neighbor is building something or doing something. Anyway, this is mainly just to work on my effects as well as my more action focused animation because I don't really do that much. So I'm still trying to work on my skills. So when it came to Ao's circle magic, I kind of wanted to take inspiration from the Bible. So I've been trying to work on different symbols that can sort of describe and denote his magic, because Ayo as a character is very clever, he's very smart, and he is a scientist. When he uses his magic, he sort of uses different formula and different principles in order to affect and evoke change in his world. So that's why Arcanomy, and specifically using magic formulas, is sort of his method by which he does his magic. But because of the Christian and biblical inspiration, I wanted to make up a sort of symbol that would show or denote that biblical power in which he draws energy from. And so I tried doing like a cross with a halo, and then this diamond shape is supposed to denote the four archangels: Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Michael. But I may have to go back and sort of work on this again because it is a bit, I want to say difficult. So I want something with depth and design to it, but I also don't want something that's going to take too long for me to draw or animate from frame to frame. So I think to start off, what I can do is sort of find the center. Oh, hey. Carl, it's you again. How have you been? I'm just working on a magic circle myself. I'm trying to keep the sizing consistent and keep the characters consistent for this magic circle while also drawing inspiration from something with meaning. So I was looking at something, it's called the Seal of God or the Sigillum Dei, and I don't want, and like, it's very, hmm, I want to say esoteric. Like, I want to draw inspiration from this, but at the same time, I don't want to follow it too closely because it is kind of like, I want to say scary if I like get too deep into this. But essentially, this is like a small picture of it. If I can, yeah. And so I want to draw inspiration from this magic circle while not doing a one to one copying of it. But I do want to use like maybe 4 and 12 instead of like that 5 pointed star in the middle. Like that's still a bit much even for me. And I don't want to put all those words and characters in it. I just want to use like some straight lines. Of course, the world is very okay. Look, the world is very complicated. Like there is so much, and how do I put it? Even the Bible goes to mention that there is a spiritual world that is parallel with this reality, and there is definitely truth in that where people, believe in manifestation or ancestor spirits or familiar spirits, different things like that. And if the Bible makes mention that there is a spiritual world, then and people are practicing manifestation and witchcraft and different things like that, then by all means, yes, there is there is definitely more complication to the world than what we see. The main issue is that I want to say, and it really began in that like late 1900s era where when we had the sort of industrial revolution and sort of this industrialization of the world where now everyone was working 9 to 5s and was trying to get big into like marketing or work or like government jobs and just that stay at home office cubicle position. That was when people started, or not really started, but that was like a gravitated era and point in time where folks were closing their minds and closing their hearts to the supernatural. But like the supernatural definitely exists. Like, and I was even talking with some of my friends, like in the medical industry, like your soul has weight to it. My friend, she's not a scientist, but she is a lab tech, and so she works among scientists, and she also does tests with rats and stuff like that. And basically, what she discovered, and a topic that she definitely goes over a lot, is how when people die, they lose 21 pounds. I think it was like 21 or 21.3 pounds. So, like, your soul definitely has weight to it. What else? That there are several accounts of like people seeing angels, people seeing demons, people seeing jinn, different spirits. Even the Bible goes over spirits and how they're like the fallen Nephilim or children of the Nephilim and giants and stuff like that. So even Christianity talks about the spiritual world. And so when we go back to the Bible and we talk about the oh, I'm just now reading your second comment. That's because what happens is people like to water down and simplify things so it's easier for individuals to digest. But the Bible is really complicated. I even think there was like this whole like purification ritual where in the Bible, like if you want God to answer you, you have to like catch a fish and then do something with water. Like I'll have to read the book more deeply. But like there are holy rituals and then there are unholy rituals. Like even in Exodus, like it goes over like how to create manna, which is sort of like this bread sort of dough um sort of like this bread dough flakes that the Israelites created because they were in the wilderness. They were in the wilderness for like 40 years or something like that, and they were growing hungry and thirsty. So like God made rain. God had like the dew ferment, and they were to collect the dew and store it and process it, and it would become manna. And then there's also various other like sacrificial rituals too in Christianity where you're supposed to take a lamb and sacrifice it even during the 7 plagues of Egypt. No, not the 7 plagues, the 12 plagues of Egypt. Like that whole thing about slaying a lamb and like spreading their blood over your door mantle and window. Like that could technically be seen as a ritual. So like there is different things that are of light and of darkness. It's just like there's a way to do certain things and there's a way to call on power and call on the power of God. It's just there's like the holy way and then the unholy way. That's really the best way I've sort of learned it and sort of understood it in my time is that there is a holy way to do things and there's a unholy way to do things. And even in the book of Enoch, Like it makes mention of angels coming down and teaching men magic and swordcraft and invocations and the moving of stars, all things that men desired to learn or were on their way up to learning, but because the angels came down, they sort of corrupted and perverted it. So, like, I guess if we were to go into a deeper biblical analysis, then you could make the argument that there is a sort of holy way to do astrology and there is sort of a holy way to do rituals, but because it's been corrupted and that corrupted method has taken precedent for so long, that knowledge on how to do things the holy way is sort of lost. So you have to sort of like pray and do your biblical research for guidance on how and discernment on how to go about certain things. And that's not to say that I do rituals myself. I'm not a person who does rituals. But that's just, how do I put it? God has blessed me with a level of creativity and imagination. Since the moment I picked up a pencil, like I would write stories, I would draw pictures. I just love being creative. I love writing stories, all that other good stuff. So I have been able to, and with my creativity, I guess I've just been able to analyze things on a deeper subject matter. And it's just hard for me to verbalize things because it is a very precarious tightrope to getting into the occult and getting into the more like damaging aspects of beliefs and ritualism. Like here's the thing. As a believer, as someone who studies their Bible, as a Christian, as a person who was baptized, I will not tell people to go read a book bound in leather and start speaking in Greek or Aramaic and calling on the second sun and the third moon. Like, I'm not gonna say that stuff. I'm not gonna tell y'all to do that. I'm just giving my analysis that there is a holy, there is a divine way, and then there is sort of like this satanic dark evil way. The satanic dark evil way is easier and more prominent, whereas the holy and divine way is sort of lost and secret, and not many people know of it or know about it. Because you can even make the argument that this whole thing about like white witches and healers, technically speaking, that is still demonic or evil spirit based because it is still relying on one's own power rather than going towards the Father, going towards God. Like that's really the big thing that separates these two beliefs is that there is going to the Father and then there's looking inward, looking to oneself and using your own spiritual power to sort of make a to sort of make like an analogy or to simplify what I'm talking about. That there's going to the Father, which is the holy way, and there's looking inward, which is the like damaging demon spiral way. And like this is honestly a topic I could talk about for a while actually. But like I'm sort of almost scared to talk about it because I need to talk with much trepidation when I go into these subjects because it is just so easy to get into a downward spiral with stuff like this. But like paganism exists. Paganism exists. Spirituality exists. Like there is a weight behind things. There is a way for like even now like people speak things into existence. Like there have been plenty of stories about rappers who have lyrics and they've spoken things into existence or they've spoken their death and stuff like that. Like that's a whole rabbit hole that I'll save for like conspiracy and spirituality TikTok. Cause like, look, I'm just here to do my art, and I'm just drawing on inspiration from things. Like I will always push the holy method first. Always, I will always push the holy method first whenever I do anything like this. Like as a believer, all I can say is walk with fear, walk with trepidation, and go towards the Lord. But you know, I feel like this was an inevitability of me going over these spiritual topics because of the nature of my show, where it heavily relies on magic and invocations. And then it's like, okay, you're a Christian making a show about magic, like, and there is connotation and history with that. Like, Christians and believers of God usually don't go over magic. So like you have to be very so like a Amobi, you have to be very careful and you have to really think through and process this. And like I even prayed to God and I said, "Hey, Heavenly Father, give me guidance on this. Like guide me. How can I handle this? How can I tell a story that praises you? How can I make a world and a media that praises you while it's not dumbed down like Veggie Tales or like those Mormon cartoons, but has actual complex storytelling?" And that was when I started reading the books of Enoch more. I started reading my Bible more and learning about these different rituals. Like, I'm going to tell you straight up, like, Jeremiah and Noah, they laid curses, okay? Like, Jeremiah was praying, like, let their blood boil, let there be much trepidation. Like, Jeremiah prayed a curse on his people. Noah, he cursed his grandson, okay? And who else? Who else? Ezekiel called down fire. Um, and Ezekiel did many miracles. And then it was Moses who's probably the most known person out there. Like he called down a column of fire, he split the Red Sea, he talked with God almost every single day. He did so many things, and he was like a messenger and a harbinger of the plagues. And he did so much stuff. He performed so many miracles. So that is where this power system comes from of like calling on miracles, because even then, and that's why the Bible is like the main inspiration for this show, because it can always because this story and sort of like the power system that I made for this world can be taken all the way back to the book of Genesis. Okay, in the book of Genesis, you have Adam and Eve. Adam was charged with naming all the animals. Adam and Eve were like made to be the kings of the earth and sort of like spread God's kingdom and birth humanity. And so they had special authority over the land. So this power system of like using magic, using invocations like teleportation and energy blasts and flight and floating islands and underwater cities. That is a macro level of the authority that God has gifted Adam and Eve, of being stewards and rulers of the land and being prosperous and spreading. And so, when it comes to Christianity, fear and love is a dual sided coin. It's like you have. Mm, you have to both love and fear God because his power is terrible, but because of the covenants he's made, we are spared from his wrath while we live this life. And what I mean by that is God is intelligent. He knows sin exists. He knows that we are fighting sin. He's made an avenue in the form of his son to free us from sin should we turn to him. But in that same vein, we have to walk with much fear and trepidation while also looking towards him because it can be a downward spiral and it can be a cycle of, following God and then relapsing, hating that you relapse, hating that you're back in your rut or back in your horrible situation, and then turning to God again. It's like fear is both love and respect because things could be a lot worse, but because we're afraid and because we know the right thing to do, we'll always go back to God in the end. Exactly. It's like exactly so we don't act like spoiled children. To make an analogy, and like the Bible uses analogy and parable a lot. So to make an analogy, we are God's children, and like that's why there's so much reference to him being a father because he is a father, he's a creator. But like we are God's children, and like if we just like bat our eyelashes and say, hey, if we could just bat our eyelashes and say, hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you help me out? Hey, can you be there? Like, and that's the sort of father God is, where like he'll always be there for us. But in that same vein, as kids, we can't be too spoiled. Like we have to show restraint. Like we have to say, like God is going to make sure we don't get too wild or get too crazy. We don't become too spoiled. That's a good analogy. Like yeah, that's the perfect analogy. Fear God because we don't want to become spoiled children. Like that is perfect. Thank you for that. And just like any father, there are rules that you have to follow in your father's household. You can't do everything you want to do. You can't do whatever you want to do. You have to do what your father says to do. There are rules there, and there are consequences for rules. And there are ways you can be hurt, you can be damaged, you can fall short if you don't follow those rules. And those rules aren't done out of like domination or control, but they are what's best for you. It's sort of like, and here is the thing, and this is why definitely recently in like the 2010s and 2020s, why sort of magic and sort of sorceries have gotten more prominent is because we as humans seek answers to questions that we are not ready for. Like every single practitioner of magic and the arcane arts are searching for answers to something that they do not know or understand. You barricaded your room so your mom couldn't come in? So, so you should. So there is a dynamic where, yes, you are supposed to honor your mother and your father, but in that same vein, the Bible also says to parents not to. What was the specific verse? I got my computer in front of me. Where the Bible says, "Fathers, do not provoke your child to rage," and that's in Ecclesiastics. And then in Isaiah, the Bible also says to cry aloud and spare not, show my people their transgressions. So respect your mother and father, but in that same vein, parents should not be causing beef with their children unprovoked. And you sort of have to, well, anyone really should check a parent on their behavior, especially to their children. And this is definitely something in the black community where they are quick to say honor your mother and your father, but they don't say anything about fathers provoking their child. And it's very much a sort of ego thing and pride thing. And this can definitely be equated to many other nations, races, groups of people, whatever you want to say, is where sometimes you don't like the messenger, but God will have a message for you, and He will use anyone or anything. And so this is really a matter of like this is really a matter where faith comes in. Like let God handle it. Like I can go into depth and detail about like moments where I've had issues with family members because I've tried to like say, hey, this is wrong, or hey, maybe we shouldn't do that. And then, like, immediately they'll say, like, oh, you're disrespectful, you're this, you're that. And then, literally, like, a day or two later, they're in a car accident, or they're poor, or they lost like $50, or something bad happened to them, or they got a stomach ache, or something happened. So I'm like, you know what? I hate to say it, but like, the father got his own planning. I'm just gonna say that. Like, mm. Like that's really just been my life. Is like I'll try, like I'll be nice, I'll be kind to people. I'll say like, hey, like maybe don't do that, or like, hey, maybe this isn't a good idea, cause something in my spirit told me to say so, or something in my spirit told me to like extend to them, and then like they rejected it, and then a few like literally later that day or in the next day or two, some bad happened, and I'm just watching. So like you really, I'm not gonna say you don't have to do anything, but like do your part is what I'm saying. Do your part, do what you can, and then after you said your piece, after you tried to like tell them or educate them or whatever, and then something bad happens, like don't rub it in their face. Like don't say like, "Oh, I told you to do this." And now you sick and like that's God striking you. Like no, don't go that route with it. But like just take a step back and notice. Like just take like be an observer is what I can say. Like be an observer, be a witness, and just like share things you see. And so you take care of your mother. You don't say anything. Don't do anything. Keep that knowledge in the back of your mind, but take care of her. And usually, what happens is when you just say nothing, when you just do nothing, and you just do the right thing, or you do what you're supposed to do, just do what you're supposed to do. Don't abandon your mother in this moment. Still take care of her. Do what you have to do. Be good. Be kind to her. Love her. So on and so forth. And you don't mention anything. Exactly. One day at a time. You take everything one day at a time. That's good. Exactly. That's really all you can do is do small things that your mom enjoys that would make your mother happy and appreciative. Well, I would say don't you donate the clothes, but at least keep like two outfits. Like keep two outfits, like two either shirts or dresses, two pairs of pants, and then like a pair or two of shoes. So then even though you're donating them, you can still wear something that your mother bought you just so you can show that appreciation. Like yes, donate them, but also keep them. Especially if there's something like finely made. Like I'll say like if it's like something cashmere or cotton, then definitely keep it. She bought 90% of my wardrobe actually, so I've never needed to shop and I don't want to contribute to fast fashion. I do hope to one day be able to have a wardrobe that's more me though. And a hand a tattoo. You got any? I don't have any tattoos. Nope, no tattoos for me. I'm too squeamish. I don't like needles. No, no, no tattoos for this fella. I appreciate from a distance. I thought about getting one tattoo, but like the desire just left from me. Like I was thinking about like a tattoo of like a dragon around my arm holding a pearl that had like the kanji for mother inside of it. But then I'm like, nah, nah, I'll just not get that. Because I love my mom. Like, if I were to get anything tattooed on my body, it's either gonna be something of something of like a future child, or something for my mother, because those are like, hmm, I never thought about regular English. I guess I could do mom. I guess I could do mom, or like I'll probably have the words like tattooed in my father's native language, which is Mme, Mme, because I know Na is father and Mme is mother. That's in Igbo. Erie is iron, and then like the latter part of my name, Obi, means heart. So when someone says Obium, they mean my heart. Like the Igbo language is very verbal. That they have a written language, but learning it is very verbal. And I do in fact know how to speak French, though my skills, mon compétence est, my skills are a bit lacking. J'oublié mon compétence. I forgot my skills. But yeah, freaking artist, sketch artist, character designer, story writer, biblical scholar. I know French. I know English. Um, I have a YouTube channel. I have an X account where I walk around downtown and I show pictures of like my city. I'm learning my native language, my father's native language. I'm a freaking 12 layered threat. I got so many skills, and yet nobody's hiring, and nobody wants to hire me. All I can do is work retail. Ain't that something? All this talent, and yet I can't get out of retail. But anyway, that is an issue for another day, and that is an issue for another stream because it is now almost 11:30, and I have to go finish getting ready for work. So I do hope you all enjoyed. Thank you, definitely, Coral, for always stopping by. You are amazing. And I do, in fact, hope that more people will stop by my stream as well because that's usually when I get the most of my traffic is. I don't get much attention when I'm live, but after I'm done streaming, that's when folks just come in. Anyway, as always, I stream Tuesdays and Fridays around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Road to 500. When I reach 500 subscribers, I'll do a special extra long live stream. Road to 1,000. When I reach 1,000 subscribers, that's when I'll do a special Q&A. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share even. This has been Owoh's Corner, my own little corner of art, and I'll see you guys in my next video or live stream. Bye.